Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3, Episode 9, titled Last Call. This episode has stirred up a lot of conversation online, with some fans calling it emotional and necessary, while others are saying it was slow and even unnecessary. So, in this review, I'll break down exactly what happened, the major character moments, how critics and fans are reacting, and finally give you my own thoughts on whether this episode worked or not. Grab your popcorn, because there's a lot to unpack in this one. Now the episode breakdown. Episode 9 picks up in the aftermath of Belly calling off a wedding to Jeremiah. Instead of staying home and dealing with the fallout, Belly makes a very bold move. She heads to Paris. Her trip doesn't go smoothly. First, she finds out her study abroad spot has been given away. Then her backpack with her passport and engagement ring gets stolen. But in true Belly fashion, she does.
Someone has my bag
gets a bag back, and along the way meets new friends. These Paris scenes are meant to symbolize Belly trying to rebuild her life and identity after the collapse of her engagement. In the end, she decides to stay in Paris, signaling that she needs to work on herself before diving into another relationship. Back home at Cousins Beach, things are just as messy. Jeremiah is falling apart emotionally. He lashes out at the people around him, including Conrad. Instead of coming across as sympathetic, many fans feel Jeremiah look more immature than ever here. Meanwhile, Conrad is isolated and struggling too. His scenes with both Jeremiah and their father are full of tension, but they highlight how much pain Conrad is quietly carrying. On a brighter note, Stephen and Taylor's storyline finally gives us something hopeful. The two officially rekindle their romance, and their chemistry is a refreshing contrast to all the heartbreak happening around them. This part of the episode really worked well, because it gave us some balance. It wasn't all sadness. Now, let's talk about how this episode was received. Critics had mixed reactions. Buddy TV pointed out that the storyline actually diverges from the books. In the novels, Belly goes to Paris much later, years after wedding drama. Hey, the show speeds it up, which surprised a lot of book fans. In Between Drafts gave the episode a 7 out of 10, saying that while the pacing was slow, the character development was important for Belly's journey. Collider was more critical, saying Jeremiah's portrayal as a victim felt frustrating. Fans online, they were much harsher. Many said this episode could have been an email. In other words, it felt like filler. A lot of viewers wanted more focus on Belly and Conrad's unresolved relationship, but instead, most of the screen time went to Jeremiah's breakdown. On Reddit, some fans even described Jeremiah as a pathetic man-child, while others felt Belly got off too easy by running away to Paris instead of facing her problems. On the other hand, people did love seeing Stephen and Taylor finally come together. So, what do I think? I'll be honest. This episode wasn't bad, but it definitely felt slower compared to what we expected this late in the season. The Paris scenes were refreshing visually, but they didn't get enough time to fully shine. I actually like the idea of Belly choosing herself for once, but I understand why fans felt let down, because with only a couple of episodes left, this felt like a detour instead of a build-up. Jeremiah's storyline is clearly meant to show the pain of heartbreak, but I think the writers leaned a little too heavily on his sadness, which made him less sympathetic. Meanwhile, Conrad continues to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders, and it's hard not to root for him here. The real winners this week were Stephen and Taylor. Their romance brought much-needed lightness, and it shows how relationships can actually grow stronger through all the drama. Overall, I'd give Last Call about a 6.5 out of 10. It had emotional weight and some great moments, but the pacing issues and focus on Jeremiah pulled it down. I think it set the stage for the final episodes, but it didn't hit as hard as it should have. And that wraps up my review of The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3, Episode 9. What did you think of this one? Did you enjoy seeing Belly start over in Paris, or did you feel like it slowed the story down too much? And where do you stand on Jeremiah versus Conrad after this episode? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more episode reviews, and stay tuned, because I'll be covering the last episode of the season right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.